it's never a bad idea to have a serviceable backup waiting in the wings. Unfortunately, a lot of teams out there have yet to learn that.
Number 2, 3rd and goal, and Hunt is home for the touchdown.
Having a quality backup quarterback in today's NFL is pivotal. Just look at the 1990 New York Giants with Jeff Hostetler or the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles with Nick Foles. These teams actually won Super Bowls with their backup QB after losing their starter for the year. Several NFL clubs have a very valuable and safe insurance option behind their number one quarterback. Others could certainly use an upgrade. So here's our 2022 rankings for all 32 NFL backup quarterbacks from worst to first. Number 32, Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers. With Trey Lance missing almost the entire season due to an ankle injury, backup Jimmy Garoppolo regained the starting job in San Fran. Otherwise, Jimmy G would rank as our top backup. But since he's now the starter, Brock Purdy, the 2022 version of Mr. Irrelevant, becomes eligible for the backup spot on this list. And because we haven't seen him in any meaningful action, Purdy takes the number 32 spot by default. Number 31, Nate Sudfeld, Detroit Lions. Sudfeld is best known for replacing Jalen Hurts in the Eagles' 2020 regular season finale against Washington, which led to allegations that Doug Peterson was tanking. Those were the days. The former Eagle now serves as Jared Goff's backup in Detroit. Hard to justify ranking Sudfeld any higher, given that he's never started a game. Number 30, Sam Ehlinger, Indianapolis Colts. The Colts baffled many when they replaced a struggling Matt Ryan with the 2021 6th-round pick. But it didn't last long, as Indy turned back to Ryan after Ehlinger proved to be incapable of leading the offense. In his 2 starts for the Colts, both losses by the way, he failed to account for a single touchdown while turning the ball over twice. Number 29, Brett Rypien, Denver Broncos. Rypien started 1 game for the Broncos in 2020 and another in Week 7 of this season with Russell Wilson injured. He won 1 and lost 1, both against the Jets. But his 2-to-5 touchdown to interception ratio for his career leaves a lot to be desired. Number 28, Jarrett Stidham, Las Vegas Raiders. Stidham got limited playing time with the New England Patriots in 2019 and 2020, attempting 48 total passes and 8 brief game appearances. In May, the Patriots sent him to the Raiders, who hired longtime Patriots OC Josh McDaniels as their head coach. He hasn't received any playing time in the silver and black just yet, so his 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with the Pats are all we really have to go on here. Number 27, Desmond Ridder, Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons used a 2022 3rd-round pick on the former Cincinnati Bearcats star, but Arthur Smith's familiarity with Marcus Mariota, dating back to their time in Tennessee, meant that the veteran QB would serve as the primary starter for Atlanta in 2020. Mariota is simply a bridge to Atlanta's next starting quarterback. Will that be Ridder? Only time will tell. Number 26, Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. Love, interestingly, remains on Green Bay's roster even though they handed Aaron Rodgers a deal to make him a Packer for life. We only ever see Love in garbage time. He started the team's 2021 game against the Kansas City Chiefs with Aaron Rodgers sidelined due to COVID, completing 19 passes for 190 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. Maybe if he actually gets the chance to play somewhere else someday, he'll prove us in our rankings wrong. Number 25, Brandon Allen, Cincinnati Bengals. Allen started 3 games for Denver in 2019 amid the team's QB carousel, and 5 with the Bengals in 2020 after Joe Burrow suffered season-ending ACL and MCL tears. Allen has been decent in the games he started, with 8 total touchdowns and 6 picks over the 2019 and 2020 seasons, but we'd have to see more to consider placing him higher than the others on this list. Number 24, John Wolford, Los Angeles Rams. Wolford has a special place in Rams lore because he won the team's winner-go-home game against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 17 of the 2020 season. Starting in place of an injured Jared Goff, Wolford also started the team's wildcard game against the Seahawks. The Rams won that game, but Wolford had to leave with a neck injury. Wolford also started the Rams' Week 10 home game against Arizona, but he struggled behind an anemic O-line and a loss. In short, he's a fine option if you need 1 or 2 starts out of your backup, but really nothing more. Number 23, CJ Beathard, Jacksonville Jaguars. Beathard started 12 games for the San Francisco 49ers over the 2017, 2018, and 2020 seasons. Though he lost 10 of those 12 games, Beathard managed 18 touchdowns to just 13 picks. That's not half bad by any means. Number 22, Blaine Gabbert, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gabbert didn't cut it as a starter for Jacksonville or San Francisco, but he was a fine replacement for the injured Marcus Mariota in Tennessee in 2018. As a Buck, you only see him in garbage time, but Gabbert has done okay when teams have called on him to fill in for their QB. There are better options, but there's also way worse ones. Number 21, Drew Lock, Seattle Seahawks. The 2019 second-round pick wasn't horrible as the Broncos' starting QB, but he simply wasn't good enough. There is a reason they made the trade for Russell Wilson, even though number 3 really hasn't fared much better. Lock's accuracy issues will prevent him from being a starting QB in this league, but his experience makes him good enough to serve as a career backup in the NFL. Number 20, Kyle Allen, Houston Texans. Filling in for an injured Cam Newton, Allen won his first 4 starts for Carolina in 2019. It turned out to be a flash in the pan, though, because he unraveled down the stretch and lost the starting job. Allen made 4 starts for Washington in 2020, throwing 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. He's solid enough as far as backups go, but certainly not someone you'd ask to start more than a couple of games in a season. Number 19, Chad Henne, Kansas City Chiefs. Henne was not suited for the starting gigs in Miami or Jacksonville, but he has found a nice home in Kansas City. Henne has looked good in Andy Reid's offense, and we can't forget him helping the Chiefs close out their 2020 AFC Divisional Round game against the Cleveland, and we can't forget him helping the Chiefs close out their 2020 AFC Divisional Round game against Cleveland after Patrick Mahomes left with a concussion. Number 18, Chase Daniel, Los Angeles Chargers. And Daniel has seemingly been a backup for half the teams in the league. There is a good reason for that too, as he's your prototypical NFL backup QB. Daniel made 3 starts for the Chicago Bears over the 2018 and 2019 seasons, tossing 6 touchdowns and 4 picks in those games. All things considered, he's pretty good at protecting the football, a characteristic that every coach seems to love in a second-string quarterback. Number 17, Malik Willis, Tennessee Titans. With Ryan Tannehill sidelined, Willis had to start the Titans Week 8 and 9 games. He has work to do as a passer, but Willis is dynamic as a runner and certainly has a long-term future in this league. We almost saw him beat Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead in Week 9. Will he eventually succeed Tannehill in Music City, or will the Titans look elsewhere for their quarterback of the future? Only time will tell, but it's hard not to be excited about his skill set. Number 16, Nick Mullens, Minnesota Vikings. Mullens had to fill in as a third-string QB for San Francisco in the 2018 and 2020 seasons. He went 5-11 despite completing 64.5% of his pass attempts for 25 touchdowns against 22 picks. Minnie obviously feels comfortable enough with Mullens as the backup to Kirk Cousins because after trading for him, they cut 2021 third-rounder Kellen Mond. As we saw during Mullens' tenure in San Fran, he will give you a chance to win when he's needed. Not all hope is lost. Number 15, Trevor Siemian, Chicago Bears. Siemian had his moments with the Broncos in 2016, winning 8 of 14 starts and tossing 18 touchdowns against 10 picks. In 2017, he was 5-5 as the starter. Siemian lost all 4 starts for the New Orleans Saints in 2021, but he had 11 touchdowns against only 3 picks. And don't forget that he led NOLA to a win over Tom Brady and the defending champs in the game where Jameis Winston suffered a season-ending ACL tear. Simply put, he's a very comfortable and safe backup option. Number 14, Colt McCoy, Arizona Cardinals. It's hard to knock McCoy for his lackluster numbers in Cleveland and Washington as the starter because, well, those rosters were just horrible. Not his fault. But man, the guy can play in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. He won 2 of 3 starts in 2021 with a real solid 101.4 QB rating. He had to start in place of an injured Kyler Murray for the team's Week 10 game in 2022 against the Rams, and he once again led the Redbirds to victory. Honestly, what more could you ask for? Number 13, Tyler Huntley, Baltimore Ravens. Huntley had to start 4 games for the Ravens in 2021 due to an ankle injury. He had some nice moments, man turned some heads with his dual threat ability, rushing for 294 yards and 2 touchdowns in his 7 appearances. Huntley's running abilities make him the ideal backup in the Ravens offense. I mean, he doesn't really have to be a great passer in that rush-heavy offense. Don't forget, he almost led Baltimore to victories against 3 playoff clubs in the Packers, Rams, and Steelers in 2021. Case Keenum, Buffalo Bills. The Minneapolis Miracle turned out to be the peak of Keenum's career. He hasn't gotten it done as a starter, but he is more than serviceable as a backup. He won both his starts with the Cleveland Browns in 2021, so it was a bit surprising to see them move on from him there. In the right offense, Keenum can certainly do his part and lead his team to victory. Number 11, Baker Mayfield, Carolina Panthers. It feels weird putting Baker this low, but he was downright awful in Carolina before the team decided to roll with PJ Walker as their starter in 2022. You gotta feel sorry for Mayfield about how things ended in Cleveland. He didn't exactly get the best fresh start in Carolina, but it looks like he'll have to be a higher-end backup instead of a capable starter from here on out. Number 10, Mitch Trubisky, Pittsburgh Steelers. Trubisky won games in Chicago and had a few brief flashes in Pittsburgh during the 2022 season, but his limitations left Mike Tomlin no choice but to roll forward with rookie Kenny Pickett. Trubisky will never be a top 20 starting QB, but he'll always be a borderline top 10 backup. backup. If you need him to be a game manager on a team with a good ground game and defense, he can do it. Number 9. Joe Flacco, New York Jets. The Super Bowl 47 MVP was last a full-time starter in 2017. But you know what? He's more than solid as far as backups go. Flacco is never an elite quarterback, but he has nearly 200 starts under his belt, and he had some good moments with the Jets. This experience makes Flacco a very valuable backup in today's NFL. Number 8. Tyrod Taylor, New York Giants. Taylor is one of the more entertaining backup QBs to watch because of his dynamic dual-threat abilities. Sadly, injuries, health scares, and concussions have kept him sidelined aplenty since 2020. Trust us, he'd be an upgrade over several other starting quarterbacks in the league. He can run, and he's usually very careful with the football. 2 very useful traits for an NFL quarterback. Number 7. Bailey Zappi, New England Patriots. Small sample size, sure, but the guy almost beat Aaron Rodgers on the road in his very first NFL game, and then he proceeded to win his first 2 career starts from there. Who can forget the Zappi Mac Jones musical chairs game during that Monday nighter against the Chicago Bears? Is a QB controversy looming in Foxborough? Stay tuned. Number 6. Gardner Minshew II, Philadelphia Eagles. Minshew had some real good moments as a rookie for the Jaguars in 2019, so we're kind of surprised that nobody else has given him the chance to start. If he could win 6 games on a putrid Jaguars team in 2019, imagine what he could do on a more talented squad. Poise, confidence, swagger, ball security. Minshew embodies all those. Truthfully, we are longing for the day when he gets another opportunity to start. Number 5. Cooper Rush, Dallas Cowboys. Rush won his only start in Dallas in 2021 and then won 4 of 5 in 2022 while Dak Prescott was sidelined. Rush saved the Cowboys' 2022 season with his solid play, avoiding the mistakes that so many backups tend to make. The stats aren't great, but the guy wins. And you know what? That's all that matters. Number 4. Jameis Winston, New Orleans Saints. To be honest, we don't understand why Winston has been the backup since receiving medical clearance to return. Why Dennis Allen decided to stick with Andy Dalton over a healthy Winston is beyond us. We still think Winston can start in the league. He wasn't anywhere close to being fully healthy in the first 3 games of 2021. If he's close to 100%, Winston can be a top 20 starter in the NFL. Number 3. Jacoby Brissett, Cleveland Browns. He can run. His accuracy is good enough, and he is excellent at protecting the football. His limitations as a pocket passer will prevent Brissett from ever being a regular starter. But he did more than enough for the Colts, Dolphins, and Browns when they needed him to step in. He's as safe as it gets as far as backup quarterbacks are concerned. Number 2. Teddy Bridgewater, Miami Dolphins. Bridgewater won the NFC North with Minnesota in 2015, and he went 5-0 as the Saints starter in 2019. And he was the only half-decent QB Carolina had in the short-lived Matt Rule era. Bridgewater was more than solid in 2021 for the Broncos. Everyone knows he's limited as a downfield passer, but he is the ideal game manager. He may be a backup to Tua Tagovailoa for 2022, but if Geno Smith can revive his career and become a starter again, no reason to believe that Bridgewater can't do the same. Number 1. Taylor Heinicke, Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz was Washington's starter before suffering a finger injury, forcing Ron Rivera to once again turn to Taylor Heinicke. If you ask us though, this guy should just be the starter. Heinicke's epic performance in the team's 2020 wildcard round loss to Tampa Bay was no fluke. The guy brings so much confidence to the huddle. He's got a slick release and plays with absolutely no fear. Heinicke has outplayed Wentz in 2022 thus far, and there's definitely a handful of teams that could win with Heinicke as their starting QB. That is, if the Commanders don't decide to make him their own permanent starter going forward. But who do you think is the best backup quarterback in the NFL right now? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.